My name is Ava. It was 7:43 in the morning. I know the exact time because I remember staring at the clock on the nightstand, watching the numbers change. 7:43. The sun was coming through the curtains, making that warm, golden line on the floor. The same sun that had woken me up for the past 3 years in this apartment. Next to me, Leo was still asleep. His arm was thrown over his head like it always was. His breathing was slow and deep. He looked peaceful. He looked like home. And that's when it hit me. This feeling, this heavy, pressing feeling in my chest. It wasn't sadness. It wasn't anger. It was just knowing. Like when you're watching a movie and you suddenly realize how it's going to end 10 minutes before it actually happens. I lay there for a long time, maybe an hour, just looking at him, at the small scar above his eyebrow from when he fell off his bike as a kid, at the way his lips curved slightly when he dreamed, at his hand resting near mine on the pillow. That hand had held mine through so much, through my dad's funeral, through my job loss, through the time I accidentally locked us out of the apartment in our pajamas at 2 a.m. That hand had wiped my tears, cooked me breakfast, and pulled me close on cold nights. But love, I was learning, isn't always enough. Sometimes love is just the foundation. And our house had been slowly crumbling for a while. I thought about the night before. We had dinner together. We watched a show. We laughed at something stupid on his phone. On the surface, everything was fine. Perfect, even. We were that couple. The one people pointed to and said, "See? Love like that still exists." But here's the thing about perfect on the surface. It's like a frozen lake. Looks solid. Looks safe. But you never know how thin the ice really is until you fall through. I slipped out of bed so carefully, like a thief. And I guess, in a way, I was stealing something. I was stealing the ending we were supposed to have. My feet touched the cold floor, and I remember thinking, this is it. This is the moment everything changes.
But the floor felt the same.
The air felt the same. Only I felt different. I walked to the bathroom and looked in the mirror. Same face. Same tired eyes. Same messy hair I'd had for 31 years. But something behind my eyes had shifted. Something had made a decision while my body was still sleeping.
Here's what I want you to understand.
When people leave relationships, we always want a reason.
We want the big fight.
The betrayal. The dramatic moment where someone screams, "I can't do this anymore." We want the explosion because explosions make sense. You can point to the wreckage and say, "That's why. That's where it broke." But some things don't break with a bang. Some things break with a sigh. I got dressed in the quietest way possible.
Jeans.
A t-shirt. The comfortable one I'd had since college with a small hole near the collar. Not my best clothes. Not my worst. Just me. The real me. The one who had been hiding for a while. I didn't pack much. That's the thing about leaving without a plan. You don't take souvenirs. You don't take memories in bags. You just take what fits in your car and hope it's enough. A few shirts. Some socks. My toothbrush. My laptop. The book I'd been reading for 6 months and still hadn't finished. That's the kind of person I was. The kind who starts things and doesn't always finish them. I guess that was true about relationships too. At least it was true about this one. As I moved through the apartment, I kept waiting for him to wake up. For him to catch me. To ask where I was going.
To give me a reason to stay.
But he didn't. I left a note. Not because I wanted to explain, but because I couldn't stand the thought of him waking up and just not knowing. Wondering if I'd been kidnapped or hurt or something worse. The note said, "I'm sorry. I have to go. Please don't try to find me. Not because you shouldn't, but because I need you not to. Take care of the plant.
Ava."
8 lines on a piece of scrap paper. 8 lines to end 3 years. I folded it and put it on his pillow, where my head had been just an hour before. Walking out the door felt like stepping off a cliff. My hand on the knob, cold metal under my palm. The weight of the door as it opened. The hallway beyond, same as always, but suddenly foreign.
New.
I didn't look back. If I looked back, I would see our names still on the mailbox. I would see the scuff mark on the doorframe from when we moved the couch in. I would see the welcome mat that said "Home Sweet Home," even though it was faded and torn at the edges. So, I didn't look back. I just walked. Down the stairs. Out the building door. Into the morning air that smelled like exhaust and coffee, and the beginning of something I couldn't name. My car was where I'd left it. Old, reliable, full of gas. I got in, started the engine, and sat there for a long moment, hands on the wheel, staring at nothing. Where do you go when you're leaving everything? When you're not running to something, just away from something. I had no plan, no destination, just a full tank of gas and a heart that felt both empty and too full at the same time. I drove. That's all I did for hours. I just drove. Out of the city, past the suburbs, into the country where the roads got smaller and the trees got bigger and the sky opened up in a way it never did at home. I passed farms and fields and little towns with names I'd never heard before. I watched the world go by through my windshield, feeling smaller and smaller, until finally, around noon, I pulled into a diner that looked like it hadn't changed since 1955. The sign said Mabel's in faded pink letters. There were 3 cars in the parking lot. A truck, an old sedan, and my beat-up Honda, looking out of place among all that rust and character. Inside, it was exactly what you'd expect. Red vinyl booths. A long counter with spinning stools. A jukebox in the corner, playing something slow and sad. And the smell of coffee and bacon and time standing still. I slid into a booth by the window and watched my car out there, all alone in the lot, and thought about how I was all alone in here, and how strange it was to be so completely by myself after so long of being part of a we. A waitress appeared. Older woman. Name tag said Flo. Eyes that had seen everything and judged nothing. She didn't ask if I was okay, which I appreciated. She just said, "What can I get you, honey?" Coffee. And whatever pie's good. They're all good. That's why we keep them. I smiled. First real smile of the day.
Surprise me.
She brought me coffee in a thick white mug and a slice of apple pie with a scoop of vanilla ice cream melting over the top. It looked like childhood. It looked like safety. It looked like everything I was running from and running toward all at once. I ate slowly. Let the sweetness sit on my tongue. Let the warmth of the coffee spread through my chest. And I thought about Leo. About whether he'd woken up yet. Whether he'd found the note. Whether he was confused or angry or scared or all 3. I thought about calling him. My phone was in my pocket, heavy with possibility. One call. One word. Everything could go back to how it was. But how it was wasn't working. How it was had me sneaking out of my own home like a criminal. How it was had me eating pie alone in a diner I'd never seen before, in a town I couldn't name, with no idea where I'd sleep tonight. How it was had to end, even if I didn't fully understand why. Flo came back with a coffee refill. You running from something or running to something? The question caught me off guard. Is it that obvious? Honey, I've been doing this job for 37 years. People come through that door with all kinds of stories on their faces. You got the look. The one that says you're not sure where you're going, but you know you can't stay where you've been. I laughed. It came out wet, a little broken. That's exactly it. She sat down across from me, which I guessed was against the rules, but Flo didn't seem like someone who cared much about rules. So, tell me, what's his name? How do you know it's a him? Because women leave jobs. They leave towns. They leave everything. But they only leave with that look on their face when it's about a man. I stirred my coffee, watching the swirl. 3 years.
Good man. Kind man.
Man who never did anything wrong, not really. And yet here you are. And yet here I am. Flo nodded like this made perfect sense. My first husband, George.
Good man.
Never raised his voice, never forgot an anniversary, never looked at another woman. Everyone thought we were perfect. But every night, I'd lie in bed next to him and feel like I was suffocating. Like the air was getting thinner and thinner, and one day I just wouldn't be able to breathe at all. What did you do? Stayed for 15 years. Then one day I left. No fight. No reason anyone could see. Just packed a bag and went to my sister's and never went back. Did he ever understand? Nope. Died 7 years later, still confused. Still telling people I just up and left one day for no reason. But there was a reason. There's always a reason. It's just not always one you can put into words that make sense to other people. I thought about that. About all the reasons I couldn't explain. The way Leo would talk over me sometimes, not meaning to, just excited. The way our future felt so planned out, so certain, that I couldn't find myself in it anymore. The way I'd catch myself in the mirror and not recognize the woman looking back. Small things. Tiny things. Things that added up to something big. It's not that I don't love him, I said. I love him so much it hurts. That's the problem. I love him so much I can't breathe, and I don't know how to love him and still be me. Flo reached across the table and squeezed my hand. Her skin was warm, wrinkled, full of years. Then you did the right thing, honey. Leaving when you still love someone? That's the hardest kind of leaving. But sometimes it's the only kind that matters. She stood up, smoothed her apron. Pies on the house. And if you need a place to stay tonight, my daughter runs the motel down the road. Tell her Flo sent you. She'll give you the good room, the one with the working AC. I stayed in that diner for another hour, drinking coffee that got cold and then hot again when Flo refilled it, watching people come and go. A farmer in coveralls, a woman with 2 kids, both sticky and loud, an old man who sat at the counter and didn't say a word, just drank his coffee and read his paper. Normal people, living normal lives. And here I was, in the middle of their normal, being completely not normal at all. Around 2 p.m., I finally left. Walked out into the afternoon sun, which was hotter now, more insistent. Got in my car and drove the half-mile to the motel Flo mentioned. It was called the Pines, even though there were no pines anywhere near it. Just a long, low building with a neon vacancy sign and a parking lot full of gravel and weeds. The office was small and cluttered. A woman who looked like a younger Flo was behind the counter, watching a tiny TV and filing her nails. Flo sent me, I said. She looked up, sized me up in one quick glance, and nodded. Mom always sending me strays. 28's open. Best room we got. $50. I paid cash, took the key, and found room 28 at the far end of the building. It was small. Bed, dresser, TV, bathroom. A window that looked out at the parking lot and the fields beyond. Nothing special, but it was mine for tonight at least. I lay on the bed, still in my clothes, and stared at the ceiling. The ceiling had a water stain shaped like a rabbit. Or maybe a dog. Or maybe just a water stain, and I was seeing things because I was tired and sad and so lost. My phone buzzed.
Le.
I looked at his name on the screen. At the photo of him making a stupid face, the one I'd set as his contact picture, because it made me laugh every time I saw it. It didn't make me laugh now. The buzzing stopped, then started again. Voicemail. I listened to it with the phone pressed hard against my ear, his voice filling this strange room, filling my chest. Ava? I don't understand. I woke up and you were gone. There's a note. A note, Ava. You left a note like I'm someone you barely know. Like we're strangers. What happened? Did I do something?
Please. Please just call me.
Tell me what I did. Tell me how to fix it. I love you. I love you so much. Just please, call me. I listened to it 3 times. Each time, his voice broke in a different place. Each time, I felt my heart crack a little more. But I didn't call back. Because what would I say? That he didn't do anything? That he was too good, too kind, too perfect? That his love felt like a cage made of feathers, soft and beautiful and impossible to escape from? That I was leaving not because of who he was, but because of who I was becoming? You can't say those things. They sound crazy. They sound like excuses. They sound like everything except the truth, which is that sometimes love isn't enough, and sometimes walking away is the only way to save yourself, even if it destroys someone else in the process. I turned my phone off, stuffed it in my bag, rolled over and stared at the wall until the light through the curtains changed from gold to orange to gray, and finally, to dark. That night, I dreamed about Leo. We were back in the apartment, cooking Sunday dinner, dancing in the kitchen, laughing. He spun me around and around until I was dizzy, until the room blurred, until I couldn't tell where I ended and he began. And in the dream, I was happy.
I was so happy.
But when I woke up, alone in that strange bed, I was crying. Tears running down my face into the cheap pillowcase, and I didn't know if I was crying because I missed him or because I was relieved he wasn't there. Morning came slow and gray, rain tapping at the window, the kind of day that makes you want to stay in bed forever. But I couldn't stay. I didn't know where I was going, but I knew I had to keep moving. I showered in the tiny bathroom, using soap that smelled like bleach and towels that felt like sandpaper. I put on the same clothes from yesterday. I packed my bag. I left the key on the dresser and walked out into the rain. Flo was at the diner again. Same spot, same apron, same knowing eyes. She saw me come in and poured coffee before I even sat down. "You're still here," she said. Not a question. Still here. Still confused. More than ever. She nodded like this was expected. Good. Confusion means you're thinking. Means you're not just running on autopilot. Confusion is the first step to clarity. Honey, remember that. I drank my coffee, ate some toast, watched the rain streak the windows, and thought about Leo. About whether he'd gone to work today or called in sick. About whether he'd told anyone I was gone or kept it to himself, hoping I'd come back before anyone noticed. I thought about calling my mom. She'd be worried eventually. Leo would call her, I knew. They were close. She loved him like a son. She'd take his side, probably. Not out of meanness, but because she wouldn't understand either. She'd want a reason, and I didn't have one she'd accept. So I didn't call anyone. I just sat there, in Mabel's diner in the rain, in the middle of nowhere, and let myself be nowhere for a while. Around noon, the rain stopped. The sun came out, weak and watery at first, then stronger. And I felt something shift inside me. Not a decision, not an answer, just a willingness to keep going.
To see what came next.
I paid my bill, thanked Flo, and got back in my car. This time when I started driving, I had a direction. North. Just north. Toward nothing in particular, but away from what I'd left behind. The days that followed blurred together. I drove through states I'd never visited, stayed in motels I'd never heard of, ate meals at diners and drive-thrus and gas station convenience stores. I talked to no one and everyone. Waitresses who asked where I was headed. Old men at counters who wanted to share their stories. A woman at a rest stop who was also running from something, though she didn't say what, and I didn't ask. I learned things about myself in those days. Small things. Like how I snore when I sleep on my side. Like how I sing in the car when I think no one's listening, badly and loudly. Like how I'm actually pretty good at fixing things if I have to. My car made a weird noise somewhere in Ohio, and I figured out how to fix it with YouTube videos and a wrench from a hardware store. I felt myself coming back. Slowly.
Piece by piece.
The parts of me that had shrunk, that had hidden, that had gotten quiet so someone else could be loud. They started to stretch,
To breathe.
to remember they existed. And I thought about Leo less. Not because I stopped loving him, but because the missing him and the being me couldn't exist in the same space at the same time. One had to give. And for now, I needed to be me more than I needed to miss him. But here's the thing about running. Eventually, you have to stop. Eventually, you run out of road or money or reasons to keep going. For me, it was money. 3 weeks in, my savings were almost gone, and I was in a town called Harper's Grove, population 847, with no idea what came next. Harper's Grove was the kind of town you drive through without noticing. One main street with a few shops, a post office, a library, a diner called the Corner Cafe that looked exactly like Mabel's, which made me smile. I got a room at the local motel. Surprise, there was only one, and sat on the bed, counting my money. $237. Enough for maybe a week if I was careful. After that, I didn't know. And for the first time since I left, that scared me. I got a job. That's how it happened. I was at the Corner Cafe, nursing a cup of coffee I couldn't really afford, when the owner came out of the kitchen and asked if I was looking for work. His name was Frank. He was maybe 60, with a gray beard and kind eyes, and an apron that had definitely seen better days. His waitress had quit that morning, he said. Moved to be with her daughter in Florida. He was desperate. I started the next day. It wasn't glamorous. It wasn't what I'd imagined for my life. But it was something. It was a reason to get up in the morning. It was people to talk to, regulars to learn the orders of, a routine that didn't involve driving or thinking or running. And slowly, Harper's Grove started to feel like something. Not home, exactly. But not nowhere anymore. I'd been there 2 months when the letter came. Handwritten. Addressed to me at the cafe. No return address. I knew the handwriting immediately. Leo's messy scrawl. The one that looked like a doctor's prescription crossed with a child's first attempts at cursive. I took it outside. Sat on the bench by the library. Opened it with shaking hands.
Ava.
I'm not writing to ask you to come back. I'm not writing to make you feel guilty. I'm writing because I need you to know that I understand. Or, at least, I'm starting to. It took me a while. Weeks of being angry, of being sad, of going over every moment of our last months together looking for the thing I did wrong. And then one night, I realized something. It wasn't about what I did.
It was about what we both stopped doing.
We stopped really seeing each other. We stopped really talking. We became two people living in the same space, going through the motions, saying, I love you, without feeling it in our bones the way we used to. I don't blame you for leaving. I blame myself for not noticing you were already gone long before that morning. I hope you're okay. I hope you're happy. I hope you found whatever it was you needed to find. Take care of yourself, Ava. Really take care. Love always.
Le.
I read it 3 times. By the end, tears were running down my face, dripping onto the paper, smudging his words. But for the first time since I left, they weren't sad tears. They were relief. They were gratitude. They were the feeling of being truly seen, finally, by the person who mattered most. I didn't write back.
Not then.
But I kept the letter in my pocket, close to my heart, and carried it with me everywhere. Weeks turned into months. I stayed in Harper's Grove, became part of its rhythm, learned everyone's names, their stories, their regular orders. Frank promoted me to manager. I got my own apartment above the hardware store, with a window that looked out at the main street and the hills beyond. I thought about Leo often, wondered if he was okay, if he'd met someone, if he ever thought about me the way I thought about him. But I also thought about myself, about the person I'd become in this little town. Stronger, quieter in a good way, more sure of what I wanted and didn't want. I started writing him letters. Not to send, just to write. Pages and pages of everything I couldn't say when I left. About the suffocating feeling. about losing myself, about the fear of becoming someone I didn't recognize, about the love that never stopped, even when I walked away. I filled a whole notebook, kept it in my nightstand drawer, next to his letter. And then one day, almost a year after I left, I drove back.
Not to stay.
Just to see. Just to prove to myself that I could. The apartment looked the same from the outside. The scuff mark was still on the doorframe. The welcome mat was gone, replaced by a new one that said hello in cheerful letters. I sat in my car across the street for a long time, watching, waiting, not sure what I was waiting for. And then the door opened, and Leo walked out. He looked the same. Different hair, maybe, a little thinner, but the same Leo, the same walk, the same way of squinting in the sun. He had a coffee cup in his hand, our old coffee cup, the one with the cracked handle. He took a sip, looked up at the sky, and smiled at something. The sun, maybe, or just the day. I started the car, drove away before he could see me, but something had shifted. Something had healed. Seeing him smile, seeing him okay, seeing him living his life without me. It didn't hurt the way I thought it would. It felt like permission, like he'd given me the gift of letting go, just by being okay. I drove back to Harper's Grove with the windows down and the music loud. And for the first time in a year, I felt truly free. The story doesn't have a neat ending. I never went back to Leo. We never had the big reunion, the dramatic scene where we fall into each other's arms and everything is fixed. Life isn't usually like that. But I did write him a real letter, finally. Told him I was okay. Told him I was happy. Told him thank you for understanding, for letting me go, for being the kind of man who could love someone enough to set them free. He wrote back. Just a few lines. I'm glad you're happy, Ava. I always wanted that for you, even when I didn't understand. Take care of yourself.
Lay.
I still have both letters. They're in a box under my bed, next to the notebook full of words I never sent. Sometimes on quiet nights, I take them out and read them. Not because I'm sad. Not because I miss him, though I do in a way, but because they remind me of something important. Leaving without a reason isn't really without a reason. The reasons are just too big for words sometimes. Too complicated for explanations. Too private for anyone else to understand. I left to find myself. And I did. I found her in a tiny town called Harper's Grove, in a cafe full of regulars, in an apartment above a hardware store, in letters I wrote but never sent. I found her in the leaving. And sometimes that's the only reason you need.